Most travelers believe long flights are unbearable simply because of being squeezed into a tiny seat for 10 or more hours, but that's not actually the real issue. The true reason most people suffer is that they board the plane completely unprepared and don't realize it until it's too late, with dry lips, an aching neck, an inability to sleep, and the frustration of not being able to find the one thing they buried somewhere in their bag, turning a 12-hour journey into what feels like a punishment. Yet here's the surprising part. Frequent flyers, the ones who take long flights every single month, almost never experience this problem, not because they fly business class or because they're lucky, but because they follow a very specific routine the moment they step onto the plane, a routine that transforms long flights from exhausting into something surprisingly comfortable. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how experienced travelers survive long flights and even manage to sleep for hours, from the first moment you board to the small items almost nobody packs to the simple tricks that make a 10-hour flight feel dramatically shorter, because once you understand this routine, you'll never look at long flights the same way again. And it all begins with a moment most travelers completely ignore, the moment you board the plane. Section 1. The plane pouch that changes everything, because most people think the hardest part of a long flight is the seat, but frequent flyers know the real problem is something else. It's the constant searching, where you need lip balm but it's somewhere in your bag, you want tissues buried under your jacket, your hands feel dry and the lotion you packed is in the overhead bin, so you start digging through your bag mid-flight while the cabin is dark and everyone around you is trying to sleep, and that's when experienced travelers use a simple trick. A plane pouch, which is a small comfort kit that holds everything you might need during the flight, so instead of digging through your carry-on, you keep all your essentials in one small pouch under the seat in front of you, with some people using a packing cube and others using a small toiletry bag, because the exact pouch doesn't matter, but what matters is that everything you might need is in one place, and once you have it, long flights suddenly feel much easier, and inside that pouch the first essentials are hydration items, since airplane cabins are extremely dry. Extremely dry environments, with humidity levels that can drop lower than many deserts, which is why your lips crack and your skin feels tight after just a few hours in the air, so lip balm and hand lotion are must-have items. The one small detail is to choose unscented lotion because strong fragrances can quickly become irritating inside a closed cabin. Next come the practical items most travelers forget, such as deodorant, body wipes, tissues, and band-aids, and I also keep a few basic medications in my pouch like pain relievers and stomach relief tablets such as Tums or Pepto-Bismol, and if you travel often one more item is worth carrying. Imodium, because stomach problems at 35,000 feet are not something you want to deal with unprepared, and if you wear glasses, many travelers simply wear them during the flight, but if you use contact lenses there's a specific routine you should follow to avoid eye discomfort. A simple trick is to keep your contact lens case inside the pouch and fill it with solution before leaving for the airport, just making sure the lids are tightly sealed. And another small item that makes a huge difference is dental care. Mini travel toothbrushes that already contain toothpaste are perfect for flights, and adding a few flossers so that brushing your teeth mid-flight or before landing can instantly make you feel refreshed again after hours in the air. There's also a simple bonus trick many travelers overlook. If your seat feels tight or you don't want to constantly bend down to reach under the seat, bring a small clip so you can attach your pouch to the seat pocket in front of you, keeping everything visible and within reach during the flight, which is a small change but makes long flights far more comfortable. And once your comfort pouch is organized, there's one more thing experienced travelers always separate from everything else. Their tech pouch, because the items you'll reach for the most on a long flight are your electronics, which brings us to section 2. The tech pouch that saves your sanity on long flights, because once your comfort pouch is ready there's one more small bag experienced travelers always carry, a tech pouch, since on a long flight the items you reach for the most are almost always electronic, and if those things are scattered all over your bag you'll end up searching for cables, headphones, or chargers in the middle of a dark cabin. So separating your electronics into one small pouch solves that instantly, with some travelers using a compact tech organizer and others using a small sling bag that can double as a day bag after landing, because the exact bag doesn't matter but the idea is simple. All your electronics stay in one place, easy to grab the moment you sit down, and inside that pouch the first thing you absolutely need is earbuds. Since no matter how long your flight is, earbuds are essential for watching movies, listening to music, or blocking out the constant background noise inside the cabin, and many travelers used to rely on bulky over-ear headphones. Bulky over-ear headphones, but more and more people now prefer compact earbuds because they're easier to carry and far more comfortable during long flights, and some sleep-focused earbuds are even designed specifically for travel, offering multiple layers of noise reduction and built-in sleep audio that help reduce the low rumbling sounds of the aircraft while masking distractions like people talking or even someone snoring nearby, with some models even including libraries of relaxing sounds. White noise, nature sounds, or sleep stories that help calm your mind before falling asleep. Another useful item inside your tech pouch is a Bluetooth adapter, because many airplanes still use wired headphone systems for their seatback entertainment screens, and a Bluetooth adapter allows you to connect your wireless earbuds to the in-flight entertainment system so you can watch movies without switching to old wired headphones. Power is another thing you never want to run out of mid-flight, which is why frequent travelers carry a power bank, preferably one with a built-in cable, as it keeps things simple and eliminates the need to carry multiple cords. And I also bring a travel adapter that doubles as a small charging station, but since airplane outlets can sometimes be awkwardly placed or loose, a compact charging cube can be useful as a backup. And here's one more small tool that many travelers overlook. A phone holder, because not every aircraft has seatback entertainment screens anymore, especially on shorter routes, and a simple phone stand lets you watch movies on your phone without holding it for hours, but traditional phone stands can be bulky, which is why many travelers now use compact magnetic phone stands that attach directly to the back of the phone, lying flat, taking up almost no space, and even doubling as a mini tripod when you reach your destination. Now, once your comfort pouch and tech pouch are both organized, you've solved two major problems on long flights, but there's still one challenge left: sleeping. Because staying comfortable on a plane is one thing but actually falling asleep is something completely different. And the next tool many frequent flyers swear by might look unusual at first, yet it's one of the most effective ways to sleep for hours on a plane, which brings us to section 3. The secret to actually sleeping on a plane, because now we get to the hardest part of any long flight, sleeping, and most travelers try to sleep on a plane and fail, with their head constantly falling forward, their neck twisting at a strange angle, and every time they start to drift off their head suddenly drops and wakes them up again. After a few hours of this, you're exhausted but somehow still unable to sleep, and frequent flyers eventually learn something important. Sleeping on a plane isn't just about being tired, it's about support, and one tool makes a bigger difference than almost anything else. A proper travel pillow system, not just the classic donut pillow but a setup that actually stabilizes your head, and one style many travelers swear by combines an eye mask with a head strap that attaches to the seat's adjustable headrest, as the strap gently supports your head so it doesn't fall forward or tilt to the side while you sleep, and once it's secured you can lean back, close your eyes, and your head stays in place instead of constantly dropping forward, while the eye mask blocks out cabin light completely, making it much easier for your brain to relax even if someone nearby opens their window shade or the cabin lights turn on. And for many people this setup is the first time they're actually able to sleep for several hours on a plane. Of course, sleep is personal, and some travelers still prefer the classic donut-style neck pillow while others like the more structured neck support designs that keep your head upright. But the exact pillow matters less than the idea behind it. Your head needs support, because without it sleep becomes almost impossible, and even if you don't use a travel pillow, one item should always be in your bag. A blackout eye mask, since cabin lighting can change constantly during a flight, with lights sometimes off but someone nearby watching a bright movie, and other times the sun pouring through an open window, yet a good eye mask instantly fixes that problem, and on one particularly long travel day after a sleepless night. After a 5-hour layover followed by another short flight, I had already been traveling for nearly 22 hours, and by that point I was exhausted, but it was morning and the cabin was bright. So instead of setting up a pillow again I simply put on my eye mask and within minutes everything felt calmer. That's the power of removing light completely, and if you're using flat sleep earbuds or compact headphones they usually work perfectly with eye masks or travel pillows without creating uncomfortable pressure on your ears. But there's one more trick many travelers recently discovered that feels surprisingly relaxing on a long flight. A steam eye mask, which gently warms your eyes for about 20 to 30 minutes, helping your muscles relax and reducing the strain from hours of screen time, and many people use them at home after long days staring at computers. But they also work incredibly well on flights because that gentle warmth can help your body shift into rest mode, making it easier to fall asleep. And once you finally start relaxing, there's one more thing that will determine how comfortable you feel during the entire flight: water. Because dehydration is one of the biggest hidden problems at cruising altitude, which brings us to section 4. The hidden problem that ruins long flights. Because there's one problem on long flights that most travelers completely underestimate, and that's dehydration, as airplane cabins are incredibly dry. In fact, the humidity level inside the cabin is often lower than what you would experience in many desert environments, and when you sit in that environment for 8, 10, or even 12 hours, your body slowly loses moisture without you realizing it. At first it's subtle, your lips feel dry, your throat gets scratchy, and you start feeling restless in your seat, and many people assume they're just uncomfortable, but the real issue is often dehydration, as drinking enough water during a flight makes a huge difference in how you feel, not just while you're in the air but also when you land, and frequent travelers often notice something interesting. If they're struggling to relax or fall asleep on the plane, there's a good chance they simply haven't had enough water, so one simple rule can change your entire flight experience. Drink more water than you think you need, and yes, that means you'll probably have to get up and use the restroom more often, but surprisingly that's actually a good thing because standing up and walking down the aisle helps restore circulation after sitting for hours, reduces stiffness in your legs, and prevents that heavy swollen feeling many travelers experience during long flights, as movement resets your body and you return to your seat feeling looser, more comfortable, and much more likely to fall asleep. And some travelers even prefer bringing their own water bottle, with square-shaped bottles being especially convenient because they pack easily in a bag without rolling around. But hydration isn't the only circulation problem during long flights because sitting for hours slows blood flow in your legs, which is when you start feeling tightness, swelling, or cramps, and that discomfort makes it even harder to relax, which is where compression socks come in, as they gently support circulation in your legs and help prevent the sluggish, heavy feeling that develops during long flights, and many frequent travelers wear them specifically on overnight flights because they help reduce swelling and stiffness, with a useful trick being to put them on right before boarding so you don't have to struggle with them in a cramped airplane seat. Something many travelers also pack but rarely talk about is a fresh pair of socks, because changing into clean socks before landing or right after arriving at the airport can instantly make you feel refreshed after hours inside the aircraft, and it's a small detail, but after 10 hours in recycled cabin air, small details suddenly feel very important. Now, by this point in the flight, if you've organized your pouches, supported your head properly, stayed hydrated, and moved around occasionally, your long flight will already feel dramatically easier. But there are still a few small items many experienced travelers bring that can make the journey even more comfortable, and most passengers never think about them, which brings us to section 5. The small items that make a huge difference, because by now you've already solved most of the big problems that make long flights miserable. Your essentials are organized, your electronics are easy to access, you prepared your sleep setup, and you're staying hydrated while keeping your circulation moving. Yet experienced travelers often pack a few small extra items that quietly make the entire journey smoother. The first one being surprisingly simple. A pen, because it sounds old-fashioned but many international flights still require travelers to fill out customs forms or immigration cards before landing, and when that moment comes the cabin suddenly turns into a scavenger hunt as passengers start asking each other if anyone has a pen, so if you already have one in your bag you're ahead of everyone else. Another small item that can be incredibly helpful is a portable handheld fan, because airplane cabins can get warm, especially during delays when the plane is sitting on the runway and the air circulation hasn't fully kicked in yet, and a small rechargeable fan can provide instant relief during those moments when the cabin feels stuffy. On the other hand, some flights can feel surprisingly cold, which is why many frequent flyers bring a soft wrap or shawl with them on the plane, something lightweight like a soft scarf or cashmere wrap that can double as a blanket once you're seated, since airline blankets are not always available and even when they are they're often thin, and having your own layer makes a huge difference on overnight flights. Foot comfort is another detail travelers often overlook, because you may have heard the advice to wear your bulkiest shoes onto the plane to save space in your luggage, but those heavy shoes can become uncomfortable during a long flight, so some travelers pack a pair of lightweight slides or slip-on sandals that they can change into once they're seated, just keeping their socks on. And when you arrive at your hotel you can easily wash those slides and remove any airplane floor germs before using them again. And there's one final trick that can dramatically increase your chances of sleeping on a long flight. Try to be tired before boarding, by waking up a little earlier than usual on travel day to help your body naturally feel sleepy once you're in the air, and limiting caffeine before the flight also helps, with even a workout or a long walk earlier in the day helping to burn off nervous travel energy and make your body ready for rest by the time you board. Finally, the bag you use as your personal item can make a surprising difference. Many experienced travelers choose a bag that stands upright on its own, fully zips closed, and has several organized pockets, with features like a luggage strap, a laptop sleeve, and easy-to-access compartments making packing for flights far easier, because when your bag is organized and everything has a place, long flights suddenly feel much less chaotic, and that's really the goal of this entire routine. Long flights don't have to feel miserable, because with the right setup including organized essentials, a proper sleep system, good hydration, and a few smart comfort items, you can turn hours in the air into something much more manageable and sometimes even restful, since once you know this routine, the next time you board a long flight you won't feel unprepared anymore, you'll feel ready.